The snap-tight assembly system locks end channels to all sheets without the need for tools or fasteners. To assemble each panel, the perimeter channels are secured to the top and bottom of each sheet. Gently tap the channel over the snap-tight lugs and work your way along the sheet. Each channel should be fit to the center of each sheet. Simply tap the channel along until it's aligned. We're going to join our spliced channels now. Basically, we're just joining a pair of channels together to make a longer one. There are three parts: a left channel, a right channel, and the joiner. Looking at the part numbers, you'll see that the left channel has the letter L and the right channel has the letter R at the end of the part number. There are also printed arrows pointing to the end of the channel that needs to be joined. The joiner, called a CSJ, needs to be put in the right way to match the channel. Make sure that you've got the long sides matched up. Place the CSJ centered on the end and press in as shown until you hear it click. Repeat this with the other side and then make sure that both halves are butted up against one another. Do this for the rest of the splice channels in the pack before beginning construction.
Okay, now we're going to assemble our rear wall of our basic shed. So we've got our two sheets, which are our 30As. Now making sure that the holes, the pre-punched holes that are on the corner edges, go to the outside. The pre-punched holes that are in the center of the rib, they overlap each other. Okay, once we've got that overlapped in the center, we just need to make sure that the sheets are flush top and bottom. Pre-punched holes will line up and then just screw straight through. Okay, now we need to snap on our top and bottom channel. So for the bottom, we've got an 81F. For the top, we've got a 61C. So making sure the small edge always goes to the outside. All right, once you've got that bottom channel on, you need to do the same to the top. Again, making sure the small edge goes to the outside. That's our rear wall assembly completed. Okay, now we're going to do our left-hand side panel assembly. So what we need is a 30A and our two 31As. Just making sure that the 30A, you got your pre-punched holes in the corner of the rib. Just make sure that goes to the outside. The rest of the holes that are in the center of those ribs, they overlap in the middle. So overlap those sheets. Again, making sure top and bottom that your sheets are flush with each other, and then just screw through those pre-drilled holes. Okay, once we've got those sheets attached, now we need to put our channel on top and bottom. So 81C goes down the bottom, 54B at the top. Again, making sure your small edge goes to the outside. Tap that channel on. Okay, once we've got our top and bottom channel on our left hand side, what we need to do is insert our 80A channel just underneath that first rib. Again, making sure that the small edge goes to the outside. Okay, once you've got that channel tucked in underneath, just line up your pre-drilled holes. That's our left-hand side panel assembly completed. Okay, now we're going to do our right-hand side wall assembly. So we've got our two 30As, they go to the outside. Our 31A is our center sheet. Again, making sure on the 30As that the holes, the pre-punched holes in the edge of those ribs go to the outside. Just overlap your sheets, line them up, make sure they're flush top and bottom, and just attach them with a screw. Same at the top. Now we've got to attach our channels. So we've got our 81C channel, which goes on the bottom, 54B goes at the top. All right, just make sure that that small edge always goes to the outside. Just tap that channel on, lock it into place at the top. That's our right hand side panel assembly completed. Okay, now we're going to do our roof panel assembly. So we've got our three 43A roof sheets. Again, just overlap those sheets, flush and top and bottom, and just line up your pre-punched holes. Just attach those sheets together. Okay, once we've got those sheets attached, now it's time to put in our top and bottom channel. So we've got an 81C for the top, and it's exactly the same 81C for the bottom. So again, small edge to the outside. Just tap that on, lock that channel into place. Okay, once we've got our top and bottom channel on, now it's time to put our L flashing, our 88A. Small edge again goes to the outside. So just tuck that in underneath your channels like so. Now just line up your pre-punched hole with the flashing and the sheet and attach that. Do the same to the other side. That's our roof panel assembly completed. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to assemble your single door or your basic shed. So what we need is one sheet, which is a door B. You've got your 58A hinge channel, your 58B channel that goes on the other side, and your two 58C top and bottom channels. So 58B, now a little bit different, the larger edge on your two outside channels, so your 58A and your 58B, the larger edge goes to the outside. Your 58B goes on the pad bolt side of your sheet. Okay, once we've got our two outer channels on, now we need to do our 58C top and bottom. So this time make sure the small edge goes to the outside. Okay, now we need to make sure that the smaller edge goes on top of the large edge of your 58B. So just slot it into place like that. Same with the other side. And then just tap that channel on. Now we're going to put a screw in both corners. Now you need to make sure that you pick up your 58C channel, your 58B channel, and the sheet. So three things you've got to pick up with this screw. Same again, small edge to the outside, tuck it into place. Snap your channel on. Screws in the corner. Okay, now what we need to do is flip the door over. Now we're going to put on our bracing for the back of the door, which are your two 91As. Just tuck it into the back corner and line up the pre-punched hole in the jamb with the pre-punched hole in the door. Just screw that from in up underneath, like so. Now while you're here, just get the back corner of the door. Okay, now come to the end of the jamb, the other end, and again lining up the hole in the door and the hole in the jamb. Screw from up underneath. Now you can get this corner of the door. Right, now we need to do the same on the other side. Now we just need to tuck that 91A in underneath the other jamb, drag it towards the outer part of the shed, and then we're just going to line up these two holes, like so. Then again, put a screw in that. And then the last screw in the corner. Okay, so once we've got those jambs locked into position, we've got our screws in the corners, the back corners of our door. We can flip that door back over. Now all the other holes will line up with those jambs. And to make it easier, we'll just screw straight down from the top. Okay, now we need to put on our door plate and our pad bolt. So just lining up the holes in your door plate with the holes in the door sheet. I just put one in there just to hold that door plate in place. Then you've got the 4 holes in your pad bolt, line up with the 4 holes in your door plate. And then just put the last screw in the plate. That's our single door assembly completed. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to assemble your front wall of your basic shed. So we've got our 34A sheet. Now you'll notice it has a skinny pan in the sheet. That goes to the inside. There's some pre-punched holes in the outer rib. That obviously goes towards the outside. That's where you lap your corners. So with our 89A, which is our door jamb, need to put that over the edge of the pan and just line up the holes. And just attach that jamb like so. Now we need to put on our top and bottom channel. So we've got our 53D, again making sure the small edge goes to the outside. Okay, you can see the little cutout, the little notch out of your jamb. The back of the channel needs to slide into that little notch, like so, and then just gently tap that on. Okay, do the same with the other side. Again, small edge to the outside, and making sure the back edge of that channel slides into the cutout of the jamb. Just tap that on. Once we got our top and bottom channels on, now we need to put our little header jam and bottom channel, inverter channel on. So the notch out in that little 90C goes into the jam like so. And then just line up the pre-punched hole in the channel and the jam. Now while you're here, line up the channel and the jam in the other screw hole, picking up the sheet as well at the bottom. Then we've got a center screw hole and then an outer one. Okay, now we need to attach our 89B. So you've got your little notch out in your 90C. So just slide that 89B into there. Now don't put a screw on the outside. When comes time to join all the walls and everything together, we'll be putting a different screw in that hole. So come from in underneath. Alright, once we've done the header jam, now we need to do our bottom channel. So same again, little edge goes to the outside. So now we need to attach the channel, the jam and the sheet, like so. Then we have a center hole. Okay, now what we need to do is attach our jam to this bottom channel. So don't need to worry about the notch out. That whole bottom system will just sit on the jam like so, and then we'll come from up in underneath. Screw that in place. Now just get your corner one in. Okay, remembering we're leaving that one out. We'll put a bigger screw in that later on when we join all the walls together. That's our front wall assembly completed. Okay, now that we've put our front frame together, what we need to do now is attach our door to this frame. So turn the door upside down, making sure that the hinges are facing towards the opening. Okay, and what we need to do is line up the 3 holes in the hinge with the 3 pre-punched holes in the jam. Okay, what we need to do now is, before we put a rivet in there, just re-drill that hole out. You might get some of the edge of the sheet, so just to make it easier, just re-drill that hole. Then using your rivet gun, once you've got one in, do the other 2. Again, just re-drill that hole out. Just do the other 2. Okay, that's now our front wall completed. Okay, now we're up to the final construction of our basic shed. So what we need to do now is join all our walls together. So we're starting with our back wall and our side, our right hand side. Just overlap the sheets in the corner, lining up the 2 holes, like so. Top hole first. Okay, once we've done the top, then we do the bottom one. Two middle ones. Again, just overlap your corners, line up the pre-punched holes. One in the top, one down the bottom. And your two middle ones. Okay, now we need to attach our front wall. So same again, overlap your corners, line up the holes, one at the top, one down the bottom. Your two center ones. Okay, now we need to join our other side of our front. Now this one's just a little bit different. Obviously you've got the jamb here with your sheet, which has got your ADA channel attached. Just overlap that jamb. Okay, so at the top, what we've got to do is pick up both the jamb, the ADA channel at the back. So the holes may not completely line up perfectly, so just re-drill your hole just to clear that. In your pack you would have been given some 20mm long screws. We're going to use those to connect the front corner. Like so. Now we're going to do the bottom. Again, just clear out that hole. And using that 20mm screw again. Join that. Then your last two center holes. Okay, once we've got all our four walls connected together, we need to put our roof on. Okay, once we've got that roof in place, what we need to do now is screw that down onto our walls. So starting in the corner, any corner, doesn't matter, just line up the pre-punched hole in your roof sheet with the pre-punched hole in the channel and just work your way along. Okay, once we've done one side, then we just go over and do the other side, again starting in the corners. Okay, once we've got our roof screwed down onto our wall sheets, we just need to lock in that front and back flashing with the front and back wall. So you've got some pre-punched holes in the flashing and the channel, and just line them up. Okay, now that we've got our roof locked into place, the last thing we need to do is put our hasp on our front wall to just lock the pad bolt in. So just pull the shaft across and just line up, central that hasp with the pad bolt. Just drill your hole using the 20mm screws provided. Lock that hasp in. Just straighten it up. Drill your other hole. That's our basic shed completed.
Before you go ahead and anchor to the slab, measure the distances from the front left to the back right corner and then the other diagonal. When these are equal, the walls are ready to be anchored. Using these brackets as a template, go around and carefully mark where the holes are on the slab and on the wall. Drill 3mm pilot holes in the wall centered on these marks. Now switch out to the 10mm drill bit and drill through these pilot holes. Next, take your hammer drill and insert the 10mm masonry drill bit. Drill down through the marks we made earlier. Be sure to go down deep enough for the height of the dynabolt. From the outside of the shed, take the 10mm bolt and poke it inside. You may need a friend to hold it there. Align the angle bracket with the bolt and then tighten the nut by hand. Tighten it further using the shifting spanner. Put the dynabolt through the bracket and into the hole in the slab. Tighten this nut on the dynabolt with the shifting spanner. Now that this has been done at all positions, the structure is anchored. Now the shed is complete, any leftover holes can be finished off with a screw.